Bang. Okay, let's get straight into it. 5% GDP. People are carrying on. We got to start spending 5% of GDP. I'm happy to pay more tax. Blah, 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 blah. We need to spend more money. Government needs to spend more money. More ships, more submarines. Think about it for a second. What is 5% of GDP going to do when you put it in the hands of wankers who are going to just blow it on more inquiries, more royal commissions, more fucking shit that we're not going to see, or it's going to be obsolete by the time we get it in our hands? What's the point in having submarines that are going to be ready by 2040 if we need them like this year or next year? Okay, and then more people are, we need to spend more money on, we need the highest technology planes. No, we don't. We need shitloads of planes. We need shitloads of everything, okay? We need shitloads of people, and that ain't going to change nothing. It changes nothing if we have the biggest submarines but we can't get crews. If we have joint strike fighters or whatever the latest stealth bombery, whatever the fuck it is, if we don't have the ground crews, we don't have the fuel independence, if we don't have everything in-house, because basically if you watch what's going on in Ukraine right now, they basically you need to fire 3 missiles for one. And they say that about warships as well. While one's out at sea, the other one's in deep maintenance, and the other one's on R&R ready to go. But the sailors are on rest and recreation. So you need 3 to have 1. The same thing goes with the missiles. They're machines. They can break down, they can fail. So you need to fire 3 missiles. 1 may fail to launch. 1 may miss the target, 1 may get shot down, and hopefully the third one makes it. So what's really, if we have 200 Tomahawk missiles or whatever they happen to be, we don't really have 200 of them. We've got 70, because we've got to fire them in salvos. So, and 5% of GDP, heaps more billions of dollars. How about, instead of allocating more taxpayers' money, how about we fix up and get a better tax system? How about we also have like a Doge here to get rid of the corruption that we all know, and to streamline our money and to make sure that where we spend money, stop buying G-Wagons for the army and get Toyota Hiluxes and Land Cruisers, okay? Shit like that. Instead of getting just off-the-shelf plans. Like, we don't even have fucking submarines, for fuck's sake. We shouldn't be in this mess. We should have had submarines 10 years ago. Okay? We don't need nuclear power submarines that can sit off Chinese coast. What we need is 50 submarines that can be fucking all around Australia, or even more than that. I'd like to say more than that. We don't need submarines that require 30 or 40 personnel. Okay, let's just slow down. And where can Australia start? Because we can get 5% of GDP and have heaps of money and buy the most expensive stuff that's made in America, West Germany, Korea, South Korea, and other places in Europe, etc. However, think about these things for a second. Okay, look where Australia is on the world map. Yeah, I do also think that we're in a globe or a sphere or of some description. I don't think it's a flat thing. Okay, just get that out of the road. Australia is sitting right down here by ourselves. In between, we have Asia, Eurasia, Russia, Middle East, and our retarded government is picking fights with Russia, China, and all the blokes around the shop right next to us, yet all of our help is on the other side of the world, behind them on the other side of the globe. Kind of doesn't really make any sense. That's like, it just doesn't make any sense. So what we should do is we should have good neighbours. We should have politicians that don't start shit to try and lick ass to like America. Okay? Don't lick ass to Ukraine or Europe or Britain, because Britain ain't going to help us. Britain proved that in World War II. Britain has the British have an arrogance, especially the top end of top of town. They have an arrogance where they think they're a lot better than they actually are. So they let us hang out to dry during World War II to fight the Japanese down here, and while they were getting their asses handed to them, like they did in World War One, like they did in the Boer War as well. You know, like Britain's heyday is well and truly over. And they've got massive... If you think Australia's got problems, Britain's got way, way, way more domestic problems than we do, okay? They just write checks that they can't cash. America... No, there is no friends in geopolitics. No, it's not about having alliances. That comes second. Australia is a continent. We are our own continent. We are a massive landmass. We should start acting like it. We should be looking after Australia, number one. Then we can be good friends to somebody else. Whether it's America, Japan, India, or whoever it might be. It definitely helps if you speak the same language and you've had history in the past. So I think to myself, America, India makes sense. They're in our sort of region-ish. We're very similar to Americans. So those two make sense. It also makes sense to have good allies and get equipment from Japan. Because remember, 70, 80 years ago, Japan really fucked over some people not far from their coastline called China. Really, really did ultra nasty shit to them. You know, massacred and experimented on them, did heaps of real nasty shit, and they have been warring with each other for hundreds of years, okay? So it makes sense that Japan is definitely in the firing line of an expanding China, okay? And if we've really made up our mind, oh, China's the big bad boogeyman on the block, and we need to have a friend in the area, it's probably a really good idea that Japan is going to need a mate, okay? We fought each other. We both know that our peoples are capable of going really hard, because we fought and killed each other real brutally, and they don't want to get absolutely annihilated. They don't want to be treated how they treated the Chinese. So... And we don't want to be colonized like we colonized somebody else. So if we don't want that to happen to us, we'd better start thinking about, number one, ourselves and how we're going to defend ourselves, and two, who our friends are. Forget about Britain. I would be looking at Japan. I'd be looking at India. We share colonial pasts with them. We share history. We can, they were British, they were colonized by the British, so were we. So we share military sort of traditions, and they play cricket, we play cricket, etc., etc. They can sort of understand us. We like their food, etc. We have a lot of resources. They've got a massive population of a developing sort of... They have a massive developing population. So that means they've got lots of cheap labour. They can produce a lot, but they just need resources. Hey, we're your buddy. We got your shit that you need. You make it, we can supply it. Same with China. Same with Japan. Okay, Japan. I know that you're really good with submarines. You proved it in World War II, and everyone knows Japan makes really good quality shit. They're honourable people. I think it's a no-brainer there. I think we should get Japan over here to help design some shit for Australia's needs, and they should set up shop, bilateral, whatever it is, whether India's in on it or not. But I like the idea of doing something with Japan. They're really good at designing stuff. We're not. They can help make robots and shit and understand that Australians are fucking hopeless and really lazy. So we're gonna need all the help in the world to have industrialization and factories and stuff built for us. So basically, we can just like hit a button and press automatic, and as long as someone's there to shove the raw resources into the machine, it will pretty much do itself, because Australia's just been fucked. We expect the world. We expect ultra high pay. We don't want to do anything. If we get a couple of spots of rain, everyone has to go home. And, you know, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Now, the biggest threat to Australia, there's two. A, the government is completely terrified of the people because they know how much wrong that they've done, and they don't want us to know how badly that they've actually let us down and sold us out and betrayed us, right? They're fearful of us. That's why they don't want us to have firearms. That's why they keep us dumbed down, okay? And we should be also fearful of them destroying everything and handing us over. I personally believe that there's already a plan in place that our Air Force and naval personnel are going to get sacrificed, and then they'll go, oh, well, we're just going to have to surrender. That's honestly my opinion. That's how it looks through my blind eyes. I think the decision's already been made for us. That's why they're disarming us. And they don't want us to know anything about our manly, outdoors, strong culture. And they're pussifying our games, rugby league, etc. So, back to the 5% GDP. Let's do it way cheaper than that. Let's get it an all hands on deck. Australia needs to go into like a war footing, basically. So we can use jail people instead of sitting around in aircon watching telly and shit like that and acting like all gangster and shit. Those motherfuckers, you fuck up, you go out into the fucking middle of the desert, into where it's really fucking shit and hot and isolated, and the weather is going to kick your ass. You don't even need bars, okay? Because Mother Nature is going to kick your fucking ass, and you're going to be building military equipment. There's going to be a certain amount of that prison population that they should just be, they're not even worth worrying about. Just, we should have capital punishment again for those really bad shit criminals, and the ones who just are never going to do any good and who have already done real bad crimes, fuck off. And same with treason. So basically every politician that's been in Australia, we waste so much money on their retirement funds and their superannuation and pension. One way to get rid of that is by trying them all for treason like they have, and hang them by the neck publicly, make an example of it all, and say, no more grubs like that. We want people who put Australians first and Australia first. Okay, so that might be too extreme for the average cotton wool covered sheep, but look, Australia has to do something, and it should be an all hands on deck approach. School cadets, national service, no national service for fighting America's wars or the UN's wars. National service should only be inside of Australia, and there should be a volunteer citizens military as well, mainly for people like me who are 47 years old and blind and got football injuries and things like that. When war's a young guy's game, but there's definitely roles that we can partake in. That is putting up dummy missiles, firing missiles. You don't need to be fit and agile to fire missiles, press buttons and things like that. Anti-aircraft, building bunkers. There's a lot of jobs out there that people of my age can do, and we should be, whether it's once a month, getting out there, meeting lots of fellow other Aussies, learning tactics, learning, having our kit. Take our kit home. We should have a volunteer. We should have a volunteer army of civilians who take all of our kit home. That doesn't mean taking machine guns and stuff home, but we should be able to buy our own guns or our own equipment, boots, because that'll cost the government heaps of money. If they've got to equip 1 million people, that's a lot of money, a lot of manufacturing that needs to get done. So if we're volunteers, we volunteer our own time, and we want to buy our own equipment that suits us, a little bit more comfortable, etc. Let us do it. Let us claim tax like a business. Anything that's spent on defence should be a tax write-off. Four-wheel drives. We should develop and let the people on the ground who are using the equipment come up with what they want. Not what politicians are. We don't need G-Wagons. We don't need joint strike fighters that will never get to fly, never get to use, etc., etc. But what we do need is really simple kit, a lot of munitions. You should let us fire a lot of live rounds. That makes it fun. That's going to make me and all my mates turn up month after month after month, because we're going to be putting stuff down range, blowing shit up, looking forward to, when we go out with the next boys and rah, and we go forward driving out into the bush camping for that 1 week a year or whatever it is, and we're going to blow shit up. Fucking, that's fun. Okay? Maybe I might get more turned on by than other people, but I reckon most red-blooded Aussie males or red-blooded males, doesn't matter what country in the world you are, we like big hits. We like fast, powerful things. We like, we love watching Mike Tyson knock people out, watching UFC and shit like that, shooting guns, blowing shit up. It's good fun. We love it. Give it to us. When there's bring back the biff at the footy. Let's get, start eating raw meat, harden the fuck up. So Australia really needs to pull its head in and spending more money on real big ticket items, nuclear power submarines, joint strike fighters, B-21 Raiders with the latest Fantango missiles that cost $10 million a pop. Where are you going to keep it? Who's going to maintain it? How often are you going to get to live fire it? There's no deterrence. Australia has no deterrence, but like the old saying, you can't invade America because there's a gun behind every blade of grass. A philosophy like that, I'd like to see something like that in Australia. You can't invade Australia because there's a heat warhead behind every blade of grass. Okay? So, and yes, that's right, we've got a lot of desert. There's not a lot of blades of grass there, but what there is fucking nasty. Okay? That is some deterrence. And we don't need Gucci latest shit. Our philosophy, we should have two totally different defense forces. One is the small professional force with all of the Gucci shit. Then we should have the citizens force that is made of a lot of kinetic and very basic analog stuff, but we use our brains. We watch the Bush Tucker Man and we learn how to find their food, how to hide from the enemy, how to close and how to destroy the enemy and we make do with what we've got. That should be our philosophy, and let the guys on the ground design, look at nature, look at animals, look at Aboriginal tools, look how nature and the animals of this continent learn to adapt to this continent, and we put that into our homegrown weaponry. And let us tinker. Let us tinker, because at the end of the day, we're not terrorists. We don't want to blow up Australia. We don't want to kill Australians. We want to kill ships and planes and missiles coming from overseas that are going to enslave us and turn us into slaves. That's what we're fighting about. So police, pull your fucking head in. Governments, pull your fucking head in. We're fucking Australians and we love Australia. We doubt you though. We want you to come on board with us, and together we can defend this place, and we can defend it cheaply. Okay? There should be a big focus on as effective as possible for the cheapest and most efficient, cost-effective systems available. And let's put rounds down range. One way to keep it cheap is to have it mass produced, like the old Ford production line. If our ammunition factories, well, just one, is only selling producing very small amounts of ammunition and making very, very limited runs, and because no one can afford, no one's licensed, and no one can shoot guns. Well, it makes no sense when it comes to strategic defensive planning. What we should have is school cadets shooting on the weekends. They do school cadets, national service guys, sporting people. You should be encouraged to be a marksman. Don't take someone's shooter's license off them because they fucking punched a hole in the wall fucking having a domestic violence thing. There's a difference between domestic violence and fucking having an argument with someone, running the occasional stop sign, doing 10, 20 Ks over the fucking speed limit. That doesn't make you a fucking criminal, and you shouldn't ever be able to participate in the defense of our nation. That's fucking retarded. Okay? So many people I know who can't have shooters licenses for the tiniest little fractions of bullshit laws. Okay? Sure, if you're a full-on fucking junkie and people, okay, there should be something. There has to be some compromise. Okay, if you're part of a citizens militia or whatever you want to call it, there should be an armory. There should be rifle ranges. Should be armories where you can go fire your grenades or your rocket launchers, your machine guns, and things like that. And why not make it so you can buy your own fucking gun? You can buy your hand grenades and RPG. It never leaves the military range. It's there in case we need it. It's national defense. But someone like myself who buys motorbikes, V8 cars, guns and ammo and knives and all sorts of things, spear guns and fishing rods and boats and four-wheel drive shit. Someone like me, I will buy my own gun. I'll buy my own rocket launcher. I'll buy my own grenades and shit like that. Sighting systems and everything that goes along with it. I'm happy. I'll buy 10,000 fucking rounds and have it sitting there, knowing that whenever I feel like it, I've got some time off work, me and my mates can go down the range, we can blow some shit up. That's living. Would Charlie Sheen say winning? That would be winning. I'd love to live my life like that. Go to the rifle range once a blue moon and fire a rocket, an RPG, throw some hand grenades and get some bayonet practice in. Not hurting nobody. It's all harmless fun. And it's a hobby I can have for the rest of my life. Some people who are lazy, some people some people just need that comradeship. There's people who just sitting there like, playing computer games, Call of Duty. They could spend 4 hours a weekend down the range in their cams shooting real stuff. Then they go home. Doesn't hurt no one. We love it. State of origin. Like, I don't even watch football anymore. It's so boring. When you see little smart, just people pushing. That's not the game I played. The game I played, you smashed people. And there was one in, all in. I'm not saying that I want to watch a game of football where it's just nothing but constant elbows and head-high shots and spear tackles. Just some common sense. Let us get out there, get amongst it. Meet blokes down the range, I used to go to the rifle range when I was a kid. My mum would drop me off in the morning and pick me up in the afternoon, and I'd be hanging out with old World War II and Korean and Vietnam veterans, shooting 303s all day and shotguns. It was unreal fun. Those blokes loved it. I loved it. I loved hanging out with these guys I didn't have a granddad. I grew up with other people's granddads, and we had tremendous fun. My dad was never into guns. My mum wasn't there. I guess I grew up across the road from an army barracks, seeing my Vietnam vet uncle with a 1,000-mile stare, PTSD, and I was just intrigued with what's he experienced. And then growing up, seeing all those soldiers going across the road, the gate guards 105 howitzer and 40mm Bofors gun. All I ever wanted to do was join the army and shoot all that stuff and blow shit up. Now I live in a country where you're not even... Queensland's the only state in Australia where you're allowed to have a toy fucking gel blaster. Seriously? Australia needs to harden the fuck up. And it's going to cost us our whole life, our whole continent and our whole country and our whole culture if we don't pull our fucking heads in. See you guys.